Hello everyone, this is Jamal Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. So let's talk electoral strategy. I've been thinking about this for a while. And I know, right? So I've been really thinking about this. No, seriously, I actually have been thinking about this. So, I mentioned once before that, and look, this talk is pretty much for progressives, Democrats, liberals, socialists, democratic socialists, libertarians. Because I think there's enough overlap there for something substantial. So what I mean is, progressives for the most part. So the first time in my political awareness, we are awake. Like, all of us, all at once. And I can't include Democrats on this because they're not necessarily there yet. They don't get it. But we've locked into this almost group thought. And in locking into this group thought, we just haven't got to the point of articulating it in any particular way. Meaning, yes, all of us feel extraordinarily similar. All of us think that the Democrats have their heads in their ass and still haven't necessarily had the honest to God come to Jesus moment that they need to wake up as a party. Yes, these people have been marching and everything else, but it's energy just being further away. But in our case, we're like, we get this. And look, and I'm not saying that this is right or wrong. I'm making the point that it's agreement. Whether we agree or not is undetached. If it's completely detached from whether or not what we're agreeing on is right. I'm making the case that it needs to be harnessed, because that's the point I'm making. So, in trying to harness this, because again, I think a lot of people came to this conclusion around the same time, certain ideas came up. So you had Justice Democrats, you had a more decentralized structure of sorts, kind of like an Occupy Wall Street. I've coined it as a spiritual evolution, because I think for that to take hold, I don't know how to get there. Like, it's like, I don't know how to get from where we are to get to a place where people are like, so wait a minute, when I do something in the world, it affects the larger world? Wow, so when I'm eating this hamburger and I'm complaining about global warming, like, those two things don't go together. Whoa, I didn't know that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how people get to that point. They can't even admit that they rigged the primaries. How are we getting to that new level of spiritual honesty? So the third one is create a new party. Now, beforehand, I thought the Justice Democrats one was probably the best idea. And I don't think I've wavered too much from that. But I'm realizing that it's incomplete. Because regardless of what situation they do, unless you have another third party there to keep them honest, their gains can be undone. Think of the New Deal. Think of what FDR put in. Think of LBJ. All these guys were into this idea of the Great Society. That Great Society was undone. Brick by brick by brick. You need a third party to keep the other two parties honest. Because you don't have any options. Like, you're stuck in the situation of damned if you do, damned if you don't. And if you've noticed, the Democratic Party and the Republican Party agree on most stuff. Like, the choices that you're given as differences or as contrasts are, I'm not going to say completely irrelevant, but largely irrelevant. Both parties are war parties. Both parties are imperialists. Both parties knock over other countries and, take resources. Both parties cater to Wall Street. Both parties give corporate tax cuts. I mean, you can go down the list. Down the list. It's the reason why I continuously say both parties are hypocrites. Because they are. Republicans are just more honest about it. We're going to screw you over. Yes, we are. Democrats just put on top of that, no, we're capitalists, but we're gentle capitalists. Okay. What I'm saying is, this is a very particular moment. The question becomes, how would you start that third party? Right? That's the hard part. That nobody can really get their heads around. How do you start? I would love for somebody to take the Green Party away from the Green Party, because they're damn sure not doing anything with it. But lacking that, I have an idea. Whether it would work, I have no idea. But I think it's a decent idea. So I alluded to this on the other video. You know, if we had a summit, I'm calling it a summit, but essentially leftists, socialists, Democrats, liberals, progressives, and again, I even say libertarians, and have those people come together. And look, you're probably going to get some sane Republicans. You're probably going to get people who are like, I didn't realize I was apolitical, but hey, these are issues that I actually agree with. While you're at that summit, come to some kind of consensus on core items, completely and only attached to economics. Because here's the thing, regardless of, as we look at each other, if we're having conversations about, like, identity, well, there is variance in our identities. This person has more melanin in their skin. This other person doesn't have much at all. This other guy is red. This other guy is short. There will be differences. If we're talking about economics, though, we are pretty much the same. Like, and what I mean is, I'm not trying to completely get rid of identity issues. That's not it. I'm realizing that when identity is attached to a party, the other party is reflexively against that other identity. You're not going to have a unanimous society. So you're going to get two factions who are voting on things that have nothing to do with their economic self-interest. So Republicans would vote for Mitt Romney. Do you really believe that Mitt Romney was going to do anything good for you? Like, it's like that. Come on, man. They're voting against their economic self-interest. And they're voting against their economic self-interest. And I will make the case. Because they feel like they're being told what to think by libs. I honestly think it. I mean, don't get me wrong. Some of the batshit crazy stuff, of course, they may agree with. But one party says, look, we're going to screw you over monetarily. But we're not going to care that you're going to be a little racist and a little sexist and a little homophobic. You okay with that? Okay. I'm in. If you guys weren't having that conversation, though, you realize if that wasn't the conversation you were having, if the conversation you were having was, hey, should we raise taxes on the wealthy? Then the answer is probably going to be yes. Devoid of party. The party didn't matter. You were given a policy choice. Meaning, there's certain ideological things you might reflexively go towards. But when you ask people, issue after issue after issue, they're very similar. And this country is far more progressive than people realize. At that summit, have a situation where people can vote on policy agendas. Meaning, I don't give a shit about the ideology. I don't even give a shit about your party. I don't care. These are the things that I want you to go in Washington and deal with. Now, if you can get a large sample size, you can have, literally, a people's party, a people's agenda. These are the items that the public said they want. These exact same items are the items, policy-wise, that we're going to try to get. So there's never going to be a situation where somebody in this particular party says we're going to cut Social Security, because the public doesn't say that. In fact, the public says the opposite. The goal is to put in a political body that has direct access to the public itself. Meaning, when the public makes a choice, makes a vote, when that particular summit, and I'm even going to call it a constitution, these are the things that we ascribe to. Now, if a candidate wants to run under our banner, again, we don't particularly care about party. What we care about is you follow these guidelines. Now, a Republican Party may exclude some of the items that I would want in that list. But that's kind of why I make the point that says Libertarians, Democrats, blah, blah, blah. Because those people may agree with me on a host of other stuff that they still may fall in line. And look, even if the candidate doesn't necessarily win, like let's say even if the other candidate takes it, but the candidate is still following the guidelines. So even if he's a Republican, he's not breaking any of the guidelines in the list. He may do certain things not to the degree that you want, but at the very least, there's a framework to his governance. It's not just willy-nilly. It's not just whatever the hell he wants to do. It's tied to the public. I love that idea. I mean, and you can have a situation where people vote at the summit on those policy agendas. I mean, granted, it would be busy. It would be chaotic. But it seems like I'm hearing a lot of people say they wanted to be a part of the process. And one of the downsides to Justice Democrats is, for the most part, they have an insulated process. This completely removes that off the table. I mean, yes, I think they should do that because I think this takes a little while longer to get done. And I think our problems are too massive to just start whenever that gets rolling. But at the exact same time, I do think something like that would be pretty powerful. I mean, because think about it. All those people who are protesting and marching and doing all this stuff, those people have been self-organizing for the most part. And granted, it's been chaotic just because they've been marching and set shit on fire. But what if it was organized? Like, what if all that just energy, that angst, what if all that stuff is put in towards specific agendas, specific objectives that the public is interested in? That is an amazing thing. I mean, you can even have a situation where you vote on like a council, and that council, I guess, tries to coordinate. I mean, granted, at this point, you're talking about a political party. That council is effectively whatever the national committee that is. And that council makes certain decisions on, A, keeping in contact with regards to the interests of the members of that particular party. And look, the beauty of it is that party is most of America. It has nothing to do with political allegiance. This particular party is not trying to tell you how you should talk, how you should think. We care about one thing. Economically, we are similar. I don't care if you hate me. You shouldn't care if I hate you. When we vote, I am not going to do anything to fuck you over, and vice versa. Yeah, I love that. If you're really talking about a way to undercut this idea of parties, and to it decapitates this argument that politicians have, well, the American people are. When they say that, they're lying. Because at that point, you could see what the American people actually want. It's in the platform of the other party that guy is not in. I don't think it's easy per se, but I think a few things will happen. I think all those people who've been marching and protesting, I think all those people who gave to Bernie, I think even Democrats to some degree, I think even some conservatives, once it's very perfectly clearly understood, we do not accept corporate cash, and we do not, essentially the values that are being espoused are the values that they are actively, day in and day out, aspiring for. They're funded by the people. Again, I don't necessarily think that's necessarily easy, but think about the number of people in this country. I mean, you don't need a massive amount. Think about how much money Bernie Sanders raised. Think of the number of people who are willing to donate their time and energy and everything else. One thing about the big ticket donations versus small ones, if you hit me for $23, you can hit me for $23 again in a month. Hell, even if I'm not necessarily wealthy, when those big ticket donors give, it's like a once shot. Yes, they can put money in super PACs and everything else, but they don't have the opportunity to continuously go back to their well of people because they have so many of them. It's doable. It's absolutely doable. The money would need to be raised, of course. And if you're talking about a summit, you would have to have a situation where there's enough people that know about it that gives it this massive kickoff. If you can get enough of a media buzz, you have the chance. Now look, federal elections are probably going to be nearly impossible because the media is going to, for the most part, lock them up. But instead of doing the Jill Stein strategy, actually do politics at local levels. If you have that many people who's out there marching, you have that many people who is supporting Sanders, that many people who are uncomfortable and unhappy with the way things are, you don't think those people will mobilize if they honestly believe that what you are doing was for the greater good. I just think you need both. I think whatever you do, you're in the situation where if you want to keep them honest for the long term, you need to have another party. In the short term, yes, get these weak Democrats out because you need some level of resistance. And I know it sounds like I'm splitting the baby, and to some degree I am. I just don't see a way around. It just feels like in another 30 years, there's going to be fourth way Democrats. You know what I mean? It's like we're always on this hamster wheel. I kind of want to get off that hamster wheel. I don't think the third party would completely do that completely, but I think at the very least it'll keep these guys more honest than what they are currently. Alright guys, thank you.